Kris here, Green Sabre, Doom Telly, episode 18. Lots to get through today, so I'm going to be short, sharp, swift, all of those things that I promised at the start, and then like fucking several hours later, I'm still twatting on about various things. So anyway, let's crack on. Now, firstly, an honourable mention out there to, you may remember, I can't remember if it was video 15 or 16, I did Beady Red Vikings, 125 subscribers competition challenge thing. Months too fucking late. So I said I was hoping for a wooden spoon. And you'll never fucking guess what? A wooden spoon turned up. Yes. I don't know if you can see that look. That is me in spoon form. Hang on. Can you see the similarities? Beady Red Viking, thank you ever so much. I genuinely didn't expect anything, and what I got was fucking fabulous. The great stuff. Municipal Waste CD, thanks ever so much. I like a bit of municipal waste, and for some fucking reasons unknown, own none. So this is the first in my collection, so thanks ever so much for that, mate. Really appreciate it, and it's a great CD, is that? And my wooden spoon, I don't know if you can see, it's got Doom written on it. Yeah, this is the booby prize, so it will be going on the trophy cabinet behind me somewhere. Don't know whether it's sort of wedge it in round here, but it will be in pride of place from here on in. Thanks ever so much for that, mate. Most kind and a great gift, I have to say. Moving on, you'll notice I'm wearing the Elderseer t-shirt. Pride of place as well. Got the new album. It's fucking fantastic, lads. Outstanding. Elderseer. Check them out. Fabulous band. Amazingly good CD. And I traded t-shirts with Barry from Elderseer, so he can be proudly sporting the Green Sabre t-shirt around the wilds of Kent or wherever. I think they're from down that neck of the woods. And I'm sporting this one here, so yeah, thank you, mate. Love it. I love the CD, fantastic. I'll get into later on in the month. I'll be doing a further collection update, so this will get more of an outing then at that point. So right, anything else to catch up on? Of course there was. I went to see, as I'm recording this on Sunday, so I went to see Godthrim, Blasphemer, Oaken Throne. Oh, I nearly remembered it as well. Sound of Origin. 4 bands. I went to see it at the Parish in Huddersfield on Saturday night. What a gig. Sound of Origin, the opening band. Yeah, they were all right. Decent. Vocalist had some serious chops, I have to say. Yeah, really good start. Then my mate Lee, his band Oaken Throne came on. And it's not just because he's a friend. They were fucking outstanding. You get the chance to see Oaken Throne, take it. Brilliant. They've got a really good mix of sort of classical doom. It's like sort of early Candlemas meets early Solitude Eternus, with a hint of that British peaceful early 90s era doom thrown in, and again serious vocal chops from the vocalist. They were fucking fantastic, and again it's not just because you're a mate, Lee. I thought you were the best band on the night personally. Fantastic set, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys again, so brilliant. Blasphemer followed them, proper old school death metal, and they were really, really good. It's like old school death metal. I was talking to Jonathan out of, or Seeley out of Iron Void, that we're gigging with in a couple of weeks. So yeah, it was good to catch up with him, and he was telling me how good Blasphemer were, and he wasn't wrong. Outstanding, yeah, proper old school death metal with a sort of hint of Slayer thrown in and stuff, and some of the merch had, I'm sure there was like pictures of the fucking Yorkshire Ripper on them, so you know, contemporary classic t-shirts there. So yeah, really good. They were fantastic. And then of course Godthrim headlining. Brilliant set. That is unbelievable. The first time I've actually caught Godthrim live. So yeah, fantastic. And it was a great sort of it was a really good turnout for all the bands, and it was a proper mix of the of who's who of what's what in the kind of doom metal royalty circles. You had Hamish, of course, from Godthrim, Lee, of course, from Oaken Throne, but Aaron and Neil were there from My Dying Bride. Yeah, it was a fucking great turnout, great gig, great little venue, and I had a whale of a time. So yeah, looking forward to seeing more of all of those bands, but in particular, Oaken Throne, Lee. Let's get some gigs sorted. Right, That's the 5-minute preamble. Today's video is called, as you may have already noticed, Flying Start. And the subject of today's video is basically, now I couldn't pick 10 because I'm fucking useless, so I've had to go with 20, which is hence why I'm going to rattle through these reasonably quickly. But the premise of the video, the best opening tracks on metal albums. I've kept it to metal because I'd have had a fucking top 200 at this rate. So, and even keeping it to metal was difficult. So yeah, best opening tracks on albums. I'm sure there'll be plenty of you that will disagree with my choices, that will no doubt tell me down in the comments of several that I've forgotten, and I appreciate. I tried to go through it. I've been going through this most of the week, trying to think, right, don't miss anything that's obvious. I don't think I have, but I'm sure you will tell me. And also, my usual caveat that I do with these things, one band, one choice. So, obviously, there are certain bands that get off to a flying start on every fucking record. I've had to choose one. So, you may disagree with the choice that I've made, but we'll just have to live with that. We'll learn to get through this, and I'm sure we can still be friends at the end of all this. So, without further ado, let us crack on. Green Sabre's Doom Telly episode 18, Flying Start. The greatest opening tracks on metal records. I'm going to throw in a curveball to start off with. And this is one of my favourite opening tracks on one of my favourite albums by this band. It is The Melvins, and it's The Bride Screams Murder. This is my favourite era of the Melvins. It's the era with the two drummer setup, with the two guys out of Big Business, Jared and Cody. And I just think Melvins were firing on all fucking... Yeah, Houdini's a great album, and Lysol's a fucking great album, and various others from their earlier days. But I just think the lineup with the Big Business guys released some absolutely stellar records, and this is one of my favourites from that period, The Bride Screams Murder. And the opening track off of this is called The Water Glass. It's, well, like most Melvin stuff, there aren't many that kind of, they like to go off-piste sometimes with various things. And this start of The Water Glass, it's almost like, it's like a sort of military march kind of, what do they call it? Like a kind of cadence sort of military march song. And that's the style of it, with a really good heavy riff sort of getting into it. And then it just almost goes like sort of a cappella with a drum beat on it. But it is a really great uplifting song. I've seen him play it live a couple of times as well, and it's really good live. And it's just a fantastic opener to a fantastic record. So that's my number 20 choice, The Melvins with The Water Glass. Okay, number 19, make sure I've got these in the right order. 19. And some of you will no doubt think, this should be higher, Kris. Well, it isn't, so it's coming in at 19. All these are good, though, I should add. Morbid Angel, and the album, Altars of Madness, and the track, Immortal Rights. I can clearly remember this when I was younger, when I first heard this record. I think it come out 89, and I think I got to it maybe either late 89 or early 1990. It was out comfortably by the time I got around to it. But fucking hell, I love that, like the reverse, obviously they play the riff backwards into it, and then you just get that snare whack and bang, in it comes, and it's full throttle. And oh yeah, I was hooked from that moment. You hear that really weird, because they've reversed it all, and it's just like, what the fuck's going on? Bang, in it comes. Fantastic. And the rest of the album does not let up. So that is why it's my number 19, Immortal Rights, Morbid Angel. Fantastic. Okay, getting through these very quickly. This is going quite well. Number 18. And I thought long and hard about this, because this is a band, amongst a few of these, Morbid Angel will probably count as well, that often start strong on records. So it was making a choice. And with this band, I went for this one. Again, because I think it was more my first experience of them, but also, I think it's the strongest opening track that they've done. And it is Creator, from the album Extreme Aggression, and the track Extreme Aggression. It comes in with that slightly different tempo, kind of slower riff with the drum rolls and the various bits and pieces with that sort of chunky guitar riff. Does that for a couple of bars, and then wham, in comes Millie, in come the rest of them. 3,000 mile an hour as usual with Creator, and just wallop. This is my favourite Creator record. If I had to pick one, Pleasure to Kill, Endless Pain, both right up there. Coma of Souls. I nearly picked Coma of Souls for opening tracks. I think it starts incredibly with that acoustic intro and then into the heavy part of the song. But this one, mainly because it's a great opener and it's a great album, so I sort of combined the two in this one. This pipped it. So, but yeah, Creator firing on all cylinders. Like I say, for me, I think this is their best record, personally. And yeah, I often, every now and then, if I'm going to put some sort of classical thrash on, it is often this that gets an airing. So, yeah. Number 18, Creator, Extreme Aggression. Okay. Number 17. And I've realised that quite a lot of these were I've picked because they were my first experience of that band. So it probably holds more of a resonance with me. So, anyway, that's my excuse and you'll just have to live with it. But yeah, coming in at number 17, Godflesh, with the amazing Street Cleaner record and the just unrivaled opening track, Like Rats. It's that industrial sound, and you get the feedback and all that, and then wham, in comes the drum machine sound that is synonymous with Godflesh, and just that brutally heavy riff, and then just chanting, "We breathe like rats," and it's just fantastic. And I was very fortunate at Damnation last year to see them play this album in its entirety. I explained on that video and various others. They played the year before as well, Damnation 2021, and they played Like Rats there at that, and it shook the whole fucking venue. It was better in 2021. I think they were having just a couple of sound issues when they started at last year's Damnation. It was still ace, but yeah, what an opener. And yeah, you know what's coming after that. And the album builds and broods, and it's just fantastic. But yeah, my number 17, Like Rats, Godflesh. Okay, coming in at number 16. And this, I'm wondering whether I should have put it higher, quite honestly, because it really is one of the great opening tracks on a record. And it is Pestilence's Consuming Impulse with the track Dehydrated. It just... There is no fucking around. There's no nice little intro. There's no messing around. It is just twat, straight in, wallop. And it is so heavy. The guitar sound on this album is so fucking heavy. It's magnificent. And that track, you could hear Pestilence have moved on from the Malleus, the debut album. They got slightly more sophisticated, more death metal. They're just absolute rippers on this album, and that opener is a case in point. What an opening fucking track. Now again, I could have picked the opener off of is it Secrecies of Horror, the opener off of Testimony of the Ancients. That's another belter, but this one, hands down, just phenomenally good record, and a phenomenally good opening track in Dehydrated. And that's my, let me just double check, that's my number 16. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of these, the bands that are consistently putting in sort of great opening tracks, and they're off of records that just continue to fucking deliver after that. This next one is a barnstorming opening track with an album that doesn't quite... It's still a great little... It's an EP in actual fact, but it's still a great little record, but I feel it just doesn't quite deliver after the magnificence of this opening track. And it is Morgoth. And the Eternal Fall EP. It is an EP, isn't it? Yeah, there's only about 5 tracks on it. This is brilliant. I can't remember where I first heard this. I imagine it's probably Gaz that told me it was good, though. That's usually how it worked out back then, in the late 80s and early 90s. But Burnt Identity. Yeah, Burnt Identity, the opening track. Fucking hell. And this is another one that just straight in, wham. And yeah, great riff, great sound on here. And just a magnificent opening track. Like I said, there's still some belters on here. Female Infanticide after it. Pizza of Autumno. There's some belters on here. But yeah, that first track is comfortably the best track on it. And it's such a strong opener. And yeah, in this case, I would say magnificently strong opener that doesn't quite deliver for the rest of it. But it's still great. Still a great EP. Yeah, so Burnt Identity, the opener off of the Eternal Fall by Morgoth. Okay, that was number 15. Number 14. Now, I debated, and again, this is another one, a band that, if you like them, of course, are synonymous with great opening tracks. And I went with this one. I could have gone with the obvious one, but I went with Motorhead's Overkill, which again is another obvious one, to be fair. But it was a choice of sort of them two. Now, Motorhead, again, are synonymous with strong starts on records. And I so very nearly picked Ace of Spades. But I went with this, I think mainly overall because Overkill might be my favourite Motorhead track if I had to pick one at gunpoint. But also, I think this is a stronger record than Ace of Spades. And I think you've got that kind of like 1-2 combo to start with Overkill and going into Stay Clean. But it's the opening track that I'm judging. And I think this is Motorhead at their amazing best with the track Overkill. Just great belter. You get that double drum kick to start off with, Lemmy's bass, and then bang, in comes the riff. And yeah, fantastic opener off a fantastic record. Motorhead, Overkill. Okay, number 13. And this is one that, again, I think a band that are synonymous with great openers. And also a little key detail that I picked. If it's a long intro song that's a separate track, I've decided not to include it because that's the opening track. And and that's why you'll notice that there is a bit of a lack. Well, you will. I'm probably giving away the rest of them here, but there's no black metal in this track. But there's some stunning black metal records, stunning black metal opening tracks. But I feel they don't quite come out of the gates. The black metal that I love, certainly, it's more about the atmosphere. And some of them, like I was just about to explain, have got a long-winded opening intro, so that ruled them out. And yeah, they just sort of, I don't think there's not the pressure on black metal albums to start with a bang quite so much. It's about creating that atmosphere, so it's more overall piece and overall feel that you get. So yeah, I've got no black metal picks for opening tracks. Winter Phyllis, opening track off the Reckoning Dawn, that's name escapes me, just that nearly made it on that list. That was a sort of, it's probably an honourable mention, but yeah, that nearly got on here because that's a strong opener. But yeah, coming in at just double check, number 13, Type O Negative. And it's the opening track off the Bloody Kisses album, Christian Woman. Now, depending on what press you've got, this has got Machine Screw. It's a little intro, so I don't kind of count small intros, and then it goes straight into Christian Woman. That is an epic beast of a song. Not the cut down for fucking radio play single, where they just do the first part of it. It's split into three, as you will all well know, it's split into 3 parts as a song, and you've got the Christian Woman, the Corpus Christi opener, then you've got the lovely little acoustic ramble in the section going into the Jesus Christ Looks Like Me bit at the end, where it gets up tempo again. It's a magnificent song, and a song that, it was that and Black Number One that were the songs that turned me on to Type O Negative. This was the album that was out at the time when I first heard him. In fact, I think it might have just come out. I think Gaz had bought it new, did me a tape up, and it was a revolution of, wow, what the fuck is this? And Christian Woman was, I liked Black Number One. I loved the track Christian Woman. I just thought, that is fantastic. And I was hooked ever since. Now, again, Type O are another band that have got some great opening tracks on records. I love on the Life Is Killing Me album, I Don't Want to Be Me. I love that song. I think it's ace. The opening track on Dead Again. Fucking amazing track. White Slavery off of World Coming Down, another great track. Love You to Death, October Rust, another great track. Unsuccessfully Coping off of fucking Slow Deep and Hard, another great opening track. It was a really difficult choice, and I went with this. Now, if you've got the CD repress that they did, like, was it the year after? They tweaked the track listing on this, took off the faster, more jumpier, hardcore influence type sort of songs. Took off all the little sound bites between songs and intro pieces and all that, and put on the track Suspended in Dusk, which is one of the slower, more miserable Type O tracks that they did. And it completely changes the feel of this album. It's still brilliant, and at times I think I prefer that all doomy, gothic, feel of that rework that they did with a slightly different cover as well. But, so yeah, on that one, you don't get the machine screw intro. It just rips straight into Christian Woman. So, yeah, fantastic opening track. Type O Negative, Christian Woman, from the seminal album, Bloody Kisses. Okay, number 12, and another band that are notorious for starting with fantastic fucking songs. And I went with this one. It is Paradise Lost, and I've gone with Ember's Fire off of Icon. Now, I could have easily picked Gothic off of Gothic, because that is just phenomenal. I could have easily picked While Mortals Watch the Day off of Shades of God. I could have easily picked the fucking... I can't remember the name of it, the opening track off of Lost Paradise. But I went with this one, because I think it's Paradise Lost at their most crushingly heavy. And you've got that more melody, that more rhythm. There's almost a kind of James Hetfield feel to Nick Holmes' vocals on these more early to mid-90s Paradise Lost records. And yeah, I think they get it all right here. And it's there's an argument that this is Paradise Lost's most accomplished piece. I'm not a biggest fan of the album that followed this, Draconian Times, as a lot of other people are. I think this is a better record than Draconian Times. I just feel like it was all getting a bit... How do I put this? It was all... Radio friendly is the wrong phrase. It was just all getting a bit more... obvious with the style of songwriting. It's a terrible fucking way of putting it. But yeah, I just felt that they were moving away from the heavier, grindingly heavy sort of doomy sound and moving more into a more popular style of... You could hear more of the Gothic influence sort of coming in. Not the album Gothic, more of that kind of goth rock vibe coming in, which you can hear in spades on this as well. But I just think Ember's Fire is a fucking magnificent opener off of a magnificent record. And personally, Paradise Lost's last great record. They've done some stunners since. I'm not a fan of Host. I know that there are lots of you out there that are. That was a step too far for me with that one. But you never know. Might come back around to it again. Ember's Fire, Paradise Lost. Okay. Number 11, and I've gone with this, Left Hand Path, Entombed. This was a real eye-opener for me. When I first heard it, it was just that fucking guitar tone, the HM2 guitar tone. I'd not heard anything like it before, and it was just like, fucking hell, that's raw. It had that raw energy to it. And I loved it. And you get that scream coming in the and just bang. 100 mile an hour right from the off. Straight at it. No fucking around. And yeah, comfortably their best. I mean, the opening track on Clandestine is another ripper. The opening track on Wolverine Blues is really good. This wins it though. Comfortably. What an opening track and a sign of things to come. And yeah, I just fucking loved it. So that's my number 11. So that's 2311. At this point here, I'm going to swiftly go through honourable mentions. I've mentioned the Winter Filleth one, but other honourable mentions of great opening tracks, which just didn't quite make my top 20, but they are brilliant. Some of them for reasons because I don't have it. And if you've watched my video last week, I fucked up royally by... I was there busily pointing at images in the corner that never turned up because I uploaded the wrong video. Long story short. And I've usually not got the fucking memory space on my phone for this. But I've managed to save the video twice. And I uploaded the one that I'd not put the images on for. And at that point, I couldn't be fucked doing it again. So I did try and sort of alter it after the event, but I can't. I don't know what I'm doing wrong or whether I've not got the right fucking software or something. So anyway, yeah, missing images, which caused a lot of guffawnage from some of my viewers out there. So yes, apologies about that. Very unprofessional. It won't happen again. Well, it likely will happen again because there's always some kind of fuck up. Talking to Lee after the Oaken Throne gig on Saturday, and yeah, we're having a very good laugh at my shortcomings in the video world. But yeah, Lee's a big fan. Thank you very much. So yeah, some honourable mentions, and I'll go through the first ones now. It's quite a list, so I'll have to make sure that I don't forget anything. I'm going to first go through non-metal ones. I decided to go metal, so there were some obvious ones like Shine On You, Crazy Diamond, Pink Floyd, Breathe, Pink Floyd. Animals don't count because Dogs is a fucking phenomenal track, but it opens with Pigs on a Wing, which is nice. But yeah, and that's a song in its own right, so don't count. So yeah, Pink Floyd with classic opening tracks. My Bloody Valentine, Only Shallow, off of the Loveless album. Great opening track, and quite frankly, I feel like I should have just fucking put it in anyway, quite honestly. It's one of my favourite opening tracks of all time. But because it's not metal, I decided to take it off. Shout by Tears for Fears, off of the Songs from the Big Chair album. What an opening track. Fucking fantastic. Love it. Yeah, absolutely stellar opening track. Then you had the likes of Them Bones, Alice in Chains, off of Dirt. What an opener. Is it We Die Young, Facelift? Two classic opening tracks. Faith No More, a history of opening really fucking strongly. Land of Sunshine on Angel Dust. Get Out, King for a Day. I'd have probably picked From Out of Nowhere, though, off of The Real Thing, because, again, that was my first experience of Faith No More, and it was just like, what a way to open, bang, straight off the bat, and with your new vocalist showing off his new chops. Yeah. Classic opener. Other ones that didn't quite make it, The Cry of Mankind, My Dying Bride. I adore that song. And it's the opener off of The Angel in the Dark River. I believe the album that followed Turn Loose the Swans. And that is a stunning opening track. That one, along with a couple of others that I will mention now, was so close to getting on this top 20 and didn't quite make it. I felt the others on this list had a more valid reason just to get on it. Solitude, the opening track off of Candlemass's classic Epicus Doomicus Metallicus. That was on the top 20 and just got bumped at the last minute. So, yeah, because of one that I'd forgotten that is a much higher up one. In fact, it's the one that's coming next. But, yeah, what an opening track. Into Crypts of Rays. Celtic Frost. Again, though, you've got a long-winded intro, and that was sort of my reasoning for that not coming in from the opening track of A Morbid Tales. Because of that, is it Human, is it called? The intro. So that is why it didn't count. Carcass's Reek of Putrefaction, the opening track off of, not that album, Symphonies of Sickness. Brilliant opener and a sign of things to come. And again, my first experience of Carcass. So that was my footing with them. And yeah, I was hooked from that point onwards. And I've not mentioned this yet, have I? Danzig, loads of great opening tracks. Long Way Back from Hell off of Danzig 2. Twisted Cain off of the first Danzig album. Godless. Just a sidetrack, one of the Metal Tag 2023 videos that I watched, and I can't remember who it is, so apologies. But they picked Godless by Danzig as a track that doesn't belong and that spoils a record. And I was just aghast at that. It is a fucking stunning track and a great opener to Danzig 3. But you know, that's the beauty of these videos. Yeah, sort of personal choices, and some that there'll be plenty of mine that people are thinking, what is he fucking talking about? Yeah, that was one of them. I was like, you can't pick that, that's nonsense. But yeah, that's the beauty of these videos, and I love watching it. So apologies, I liked the video and I can't remember who it was, but anyway, there was a lot that I watched. I don't feel like Dillinger Escape Plan, Farewell Mona Lisa off of the Option Paralysis, is it called? I've got it somewhere. Stunning opening track. And they're another band that I've got some stunning opening tracks on records. Yeah, phenomenal fucking opener. Amazing. So yeah, those are my honourable mentions. So let's get to the top 10. I'm coming in at number 10, and the one that bumped Candlemass, because I'd forgotten about them. Mastodon. And this one in particular, again, another band that always open albums with an amazing track. But Blood and Thunder off of this album, Leviathan, is just unrivaled. This is the reason why it's still the fucking last song that they play whenever you see them live. Because it is just a breathtaking track, breathtaking opening track, to a breathtaking album. Might not be my favourite, shock, horror, gasp, Mastodon album, because I love all their stuff. There's going to be a Mastodon countdown, best albums coming soon as well, so watch this space. I'll do that for you, Lee, especially. But yeah, Blood and Thunder, what a way to open a fucking seminal record. If you've not heard this, you're an idiot. Go out, purchase it immediately, and thank me later. Blood and Thunder, Mastodon, from the album Leviathan. Okay. Number 9, and again, another band that are synonymous with starting like a house on fire. A flying start, if you will. But I've picked this one, because it's the opening track that I fucking love it, and I still love it to this day. It is Slayer, and I've picked the track Hell Awaits. I was just checking that it was the opening one then, for a start. It is, yeah. Just a crushing intro. You get that evil riff coming in with that sort of really stomping beat that comes with it. You've got that weird kind of eerie intro that comes with it as such, and then into classic Slayer after you've got through that intro section of it. Yes, I could have picked Angel of Death off of Rain in Blood. Yes, I could have picked War Ensemble off of fucking Seasons. Yeah, I could have picked South of Heaven off of South of Heaven. I could have picked Evil. Is it Evil Has No Boundaries? Yeah. From Show No Mercy. Nearly fucking forgot the Davies there. But I didn't. I picked this one instead. And yeah, I fucking love this track. It's just great. And it always gets me fired up. So, yeah, that's why it's coming in at my number 9. Hell Awaits, opening track from Slayer's seminal second. Is it an EP? Is it an album? I call it an album. Second album, Hell Awaits. Now, another band that the choice of which one to go for, and I very nearly went for one of their other albums, but I decided to go with Trouble's debut album. Used to be self-titled. It's now commonly known as Psalm 9. Pardon me, I got very excited then, made myself cough. And the track, The Tempter. It's just, it wasn't my introduction to Trouble, the self-titled album, and Manic Frustration were my two ins with Trouble. I came back to this later, but this does everything. I can imagine that when you first heard this, when it came out, it was just a fucking light bulb moment. Just how it hits you. It's everything that Trouble do brilliantly. You've got the doomy, Sabbathy style riff, but with that groove that they were synonymous with. And yeah, that was, like I say, I could have picked At the End of My Days. I could have picked Come and Touch the Sky. But I went with this. I could have picked the opener off of The Skull as well. That's another fucking ripper. But The Tempter. Yeah, it's... I think the reason that I went with this is because... Sorry, my leg's going dead. Bear with me. I'll probably get a cramp in a minute. But yeah, the reason that I picked this is because... often these days, if I'm in a Trouble mood, it's this album that goes on. I'm probably blaming that for my mate at work who keeps telling me how amazing this record is, and he's not wrong. I'm fully aware it is great. But yeah, The Tempter, Trouble, amazing. Okay, we're getting to the saucy part of the list now. I'm coming in at number 7. Again, a band that are synonymous with great opening tracks. But I've picked this one because it is one of, if not my favourite track by this band. And it is Autopsy. The album is Acts of the Unspeakable. And the track is Meat. And I struggle to find... Well, I've clearly found 6 more. But I struggle to find... an album where it's a stronger start than this. This, for me, is what Autopsy are fucking amazing at. Pardon me, getting cramp again. It's got the Autopsy death metal, that grinding, crushing, heavy, fast-paced, just ugly, raw death metal. But what Autopsy do brilliantly, and why they're one of my favourite bands, is that doom feel. They do some of the best, most evil, doomy riffs out there. And this starts with one of the best ever. It is such a strong opening riff. That just crushingly heavy, evil, nasty, raw, horribleness. And what Autopsy do well, yeah, I'm thinking now at number 7, this probably should have been in my top 3, but I fucking love it. Twisted Massive Burnt Decay is a great opener of the album before this, Mental Funeral. And I'm tied on which track is my favourite, but I went with this one because Twisted Massive Burnt Decay is more in your face. This gives more of a feel of what Autopsy do. You hear the doominess, you hear the deathiness, you hear. So yeah, Meet Autopsy. Okay, number 6, and again, a band that I really fucking struggled to decide which album to pick from because they're synonymous with strong opening tracks. But I went with this one, and again, probably because it was my first experience of them. Death, the album Leprosy, and the track Leprosy. It's just that production. The drum sound on this album is like nothing I've ever heard before or again. It's just so in your face, is the drum sound on this. It's sort of akin, my brother used to say, it's almost akin to that, you know, the punch noise in 80s films that was like a really over the top. That's almost like the feel of the drums on this album. But the guitar tone's amazing. Chuck's voice is amazing. Yeah, Rick Ross maybe wasn't the strongest soloist in the world, but his whammy shenanigans just add the vibe to this album. So I wouldn't have it any other way. Yeah, Paul Masvidal or James Murphy or one of the other shredders that he got over the years, yeah, might have given us some beautiful solos. But I'm not sure this album needed that. Chuck provided that part of it. Rick Ross provided the shenanigans. And that's why I picked this one. Like I say, every Death album has a strong opening track. And it was a really difficult choice. But this was my first experience of Death. And I just think this gets to the point. They all get to the point. And they're all a great... Every opening track on every Death record is a great example of what's coming. I just think this is the best of them. And that's all I have to say on the matter. Death, Leprosy. Fucking fantastic. Okay, we're into the top 5. Now, I was really tied with which one to pick from this band. And I went with the one off the album that's arguably my favourite album of all time. It is, of course, Cathedral. The album is Forest of Equilibrium. And the track is Commiserating the Celebration. Now, it is all in one. It's a long intro piece, but it's all part of the opening track. I've gone to the track listing, and that's what I'm going off of. I nearly picked Morning of a New Day off of the In Memoriam demo. Because that is such a... It was a bolt from the blue back then. No one was playing as fucking slowly as they were, apart from maybe bands like Grief and fucking Penance and stuff like that. But it was so slow, and that riff when it comes in, pardon me, still full of cold, just outstanding. But I went with this one because what you get is the full flavour of the album that's to come. You get that beautiful acoustic guitar intro with the like the eerie flute over the top of it, and it's weird. It's like the cover art, it's weird, it's unsettling. And then in comes that guitar tone, and then you get that crushing harmony, the twin guitar harmony, which is one of the things when I've mentioned that for me Cathedral really go off the boil once Adam left the band. And it's because they never made use of them harmonies anymore. I'm assuming that was a deliberate choice, but that was what I loved about it. So you get that harmony and then bang, Lee's vocals are so good on this album as well. And they're eerie. And then the rest of it, it's a sprawling fucking epic of a song off a sprawling fucking epic of an album. And that's why I went with this one. I think you get the full feel of Cathedral from early Cathedral from this opening track. And that's why it's my number 5. So, okay, we're into the top 4 now. Now, this one I imagine will surprise a lot of you as to why it's so high up. But I absolutely adore it. I nearly picked this as my favourite opening track off any record ever. It's Megadeth. The album is So Far So Good So What, and the track is Into the Lungs of Hell. I cannot think of many more superlatives for this opening song. It's just fucking awesome. it's just, again, straight off the bat, it's that great riff, and it's just the tempo, the beat, the kind of just solid, heavy, really nice kind of guitar harmonies running over the top of it. The riffs are amazing in it. And maybe more importantly, it's an instrumental. Dave's not doing his fucking awful whiny warble over the top of it. And maybe that's why, but I fucking love this. That is the way you start an album. Yeah, Megadeth have done some great opening tracks. Wake Up Dead off of fucking Peace Sells. Holy Wars, of course, off of Rust in Peace. This is better, personally. I fucking love it, and I will not be told otherwise. Adore it. Megadeth, Into the Lungs of Hell. Like I say, I think it's going to be a track at my funeral. So when I inevitably spontaneously combust in the workplace, you're all invited to my do. Look out for that track. It'll be playing, hopefully. Otherwise, I'll be fucking haunting someone. Right, okay. The top 3. Basically, all of these top 5 could have been my number 1. It's that tight. But I've decided to go with this at number 3. It is Iron Maiden, the album Power Slave. And the opening track, of course, is Aces High. Now, Iron Maiden, on the first 7 studio albums, could fucking do no wrong. I struggle to find many bands that were that consistently good for that long. They just could not fail. They were just... It's like they made a deal with the devil and some secret elixir. Now, wherever you sit on... I mean, I think my favourite Maiden album might be Killers. I love the Di'Anno voice. I think I might have preferred Di'Anno's voice to Bruce Dickinson's. But, anyway... I watched, there's a great channel called Analog Attack, a guy that is based out in Osaka in Japan, and he's a record collector, he's a legend on YouTube. Analog Attack, check him out. Him and a guy called Kris did an amazing series of videos on all Iron Maiden studio albums and ranking them. And they describe this, and I'm absolutely 100% behind them. They describe this as one of the greatest 1-2 punches in album opening history. Aces High into 2 Minutes to Midnight. You find me a better 1-2 combo to start a record, because I'm struggling. Maybe one of them that I'll mention here might be another close runner, but yeah, what a way to start the record. Aces High. Again, Maiden often started records with a really fucking strong track. But this is my favourite of them. Yeah, number 3. Number 2. And it is, again, a band synonymous with strong opening tracks. But this is my favourite. Metallica, Ride the Lightning, and the track, Fight Fire with Fire. I think you've got again, it's a bit like the Cathedral comparison. You've got a combination of things which shows just what Metallica were great at this period. You've got that beautiful acoustic intro that goes into... Again, you find me an album with a better guitar tone than this, because I'm struggling. The guitar tone is frightening. I would love to know how they got that sound. There's probably lots of videos explaining exactly how they got that sound. I've just not watched them. But... it's just absolutely shredding guitar sound. It sounds like it's destroying amplifiers off of every fucking time he hits it. Just what a guitar tone. And yeah, straight in. Once you get that beautiful acoustic intro out of the way, straight in with one of Metallica's strongest opening tracks. Metallica's strongest opening track. Fight Fire with Fire. Off of what is currently my favourite. It flops between Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets, but this is currently my favourite Metallica record, if I had to pick one. Again, there might be a Metallica ranking coming soon, so watch this space. But yeah, number 2, Fight Fire with Fire. Now, some of you will probably guess, but when it comes to opening tracks, not only for their magnificence in their own right, for the album that comes after it, but this had all those things and more. This is for everything it spawned after it, and I couldn't think of anything to top it. It is, of course, Black Sabbath, with their debut album Black Sabbath and the track Black Sabbath. It is just an absolute ripper of a way to start a record. I mean, you could argue that the album slightly tails off after that opener. And yeah, personally, I think Master of Reality and Paranoid and Volume 4, I think are all better records than this one. But this opening track is the best of them all. This is what Sabbath did better than fucking anyone, and you could argue still do better than anyone because they're the fucking masters. But what a way to start it. Fucking hell. The most evil, brooding riff. And when you think of when it came out, it was like nothing else. Just, again, I use the phrase a lot, but lightning in a bottle. Just amazing. And yeah, of all the ones that I've listed, of all the honourable mentions, I can't think of anything that had a bigger effect on the music that I love. This opening track is unrivaled and will always be the greatest opening track in metal history for me. And that is it. 45 minutes, my longest video. I knew it was going to be a big one because I had a few mentions and loads of these fucking things to get through. So I will wrap it up now. Thanks very much for watching. Again, thanks for my sort of, I think we get a slow trickle of new subscribers every week. It's ace. I can't believe, I still can't believe how popular these videos have been, quite honestly. I figured that like about 4 of you would watch it and you just think, who's that opinionated dick? So I can't thank you all enough for watching these. And I'm enjoying making them. It's fitting them in, especially when they twat on for this length of time. So yeah, I will end it there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Tell your friends, like and subscribe. There'll be links below to almost fucking everything. And I will see you this time next week. Again, I keep threatening to do a top 10 death metal, top 10 black metal, top 10 doom metal. Might be the doom metal one that comes next week. Then again, it might fucking not be. I'd started talking about opening tracks. I'm also compiling a list of greatest ending tracks on records. So I might do that one next week. So anyway, enough of that. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care. Toodle pip.